Harold Brown, the rooster.
Aquí estamos con el señor Ray Alexander. Vamos a platicar con él sobre un poquito más de la historia que él sabe de los sweaters. Right, Mr. Ray, tell us a little bit more about what you know about the sweaters.
Well, Harold Brown sent Percy Flowers. They were good friends. Sweater McGinnis worked for Percy Flowers at that time. And he sent him a pure yellow-legged hatch. It comes from Ted McLean. And that was Harold's breed. And they fought that rooster at sunset, and I was there and saw it fight. And it was a hell of a damn rooster. And Mr. Kelso asked Sweater for that rooster. And Sweater gave it to him. And so when Mr. Kelso died, he willed all his chickens to a man named Robert Caldwell, lived in Jackson, Tennessee, that walked roosters for Kelso with his lifetime friend. And he was a multimillionaire. They called him the Little Packer. Jumper and Cecil Davis worked for him. And they got to reading the books. When they got, Kelso sent him the chicken, and then that man died too the next year, so he willed half of them to Jumper, half of them to Cecil Davis. And when they got to trying to figure out what was what, and they got the books from Bill Jacket, who's still living, who was partners with Kelso. And they come across this sweater. And they didn't know what it was or nothing, because he got that rooster from Sweater, so Mr. Kelso put it in, wrote it down in his book, Sweater. So everything that they got with that sweater on was a sweater. But he bred it to his out-and-out Kelso hens, Mr. Kelso did, and that's what they call sweater today. It come from them matings. And that's exactly what a sweater is. Anybody that says anything different don't know what they're talking about. And the radios come, they had to call Bill Jacket because Jumper fought this rooster 6 or 7 times, and he'd talk all the time. Yah, 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 yah. And they named him Radio, and he won 5 or 6 fights. So they called Bill Jacket and asked him what that rooster was. And he said he looked him up and said he come from my friend in Pennsylvania, which was a pure white hackle, and that's what he was. And Jumper bred it to them hens he got inherited, and that's what the radios was.
So how was in your own words, how was a claret rooster, the claret family made?
I don't know about the claret. It was Madigan made them, but I mean, well, Madigan was there, and it's a racetrack in Canada, and he sent he was to Texas, and they was drinking claret wine, and that hen brought around about 7 or 8 of the nicest stags following around there for the longest. And they'd be drinking, said, God damn, them the prettiest damn chickens I ever seen. So we all put a name on them, and they looked at that claret wine they were drinking, and they said, claret, it looks just like the same color, like claret wine, so that's how they got their name, through Madigan, Canada at the racetrack.
So how do you know any bit of the blood that was in him? There was hatch and
I read it one time, but I forgot exactly. No, there wasn't no hatch in it. It was some kind of white hackle that they had. I know it one time, but I slipped my mind. But it was come out. They walked that rooster at that racetrack where the horses was, and that hen stole her nest out, and she was bred some old Collins or somebody. I don't remember for sure. But it come out of white hackle. And that claret wine they was drinking, that's what got their name, the Clarets. Madigan, he moved to Texas, and he carried them chickens, and that's what they was. But Madigan didn't know nothing about chickens. That man Hanky Dean's the one that knows. And Hanky Dean, that Irish guy from up north, he'd keep Madigan straight on his breeding. And that's where the chocolates come from. That man sent Madigan a white hen, Snow White hen. And then Madigan bred it and was producing, and Law kept wanting to get that hen from Madigan. They were partners. And finally, when she got 8 years old, he gave her to Law. Didn't think he'd get nothing out of her that old. Law bred it And I heard 3 stories on that, and I don't know which one. You can take either one you want. And I've seen Duke in Mexico. I asked him if he knew what a chocolate gray was, and he told me he knowed all about it. He got this rooster from Law. Law made me bring him back. He'd won 9 fights, and he bred him to some hens that come from Law. And when Law and Cook bought out Hatch, bred it to one of them hens, and it was chocolate. So I believed that. And then the next year, I seen Ray Hoskins at Sunset. I know he was there back then. So I asked him, what's the chocolate gray? Because I'd done 1 or 2 of the biggest derbies there was with him. I was wanting to find out. He gave me an entirely different story. And then I seen Mr. McLean right before he died, and we went out to dinner, me and him and Harry Parr, and I asked him what the chocolate grays was. And he said, well, I'll send you a letter. He couldn't see good at that time. And he said, I'll send you a letter. And so I got the letter over in my trunk right there. And he's got an entirely different story. So you take either one you want. But they all come white. I can see that in the chickens when I inbreed them. They're white. So I know they come from some kind of white chicken. But that's all. I don't know which story was right. But probably McLean.
What do you know about the Democrats?
I know very well a lot about the Democrats. That's when I remember when they made them.
How were they made?
Mr. Mike Ray, Blundy, Rowland,
And William McRae.
William McRae bred them. And Blundy Rowland took the hens, the Griffin Claret hens up there, and he fought that. In 1942, Mr. Hatch's son was a soldier, and then this guy named Carson Harrier's son was in the war together, in the army together. And they went and visited Mr. Hatch at his house. So they were good friends, and so they took some of the eggs sent to Carson Harrier, his daddy, in Sylacauga, Alabama. And I seen him fight them several times up here close to where I live. And they would fight like hell and cut like they couldn't cut. They just beat roosters to death, but game to the core. And Blundy sent that rooster up there to Mike Ray, and he bet it to them Griffin hens. And the Blundy and his drunken buddies were all up there going to see the stags in November. And they said, them's the prettiest stags I ever seen. So we ought to put a name on them. And they come up with this name, another name, They was trying to find, they said, we ought to put a name on that, so beautiful. And Mr. McRae's brother walked out on the porch and hollered down the field. He said, hey, William, the Democrats just won the election. And that's what they said, well, that's a good name. That's what their name was. So that's what the Democrats was all about. That right there.
So what was that? It was just a
Hatch
Claret cross?
Yeah, that's right. Hatch Claret cross. But they was all yellow-legged start first year. And after that, they go to breed